Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of TikTok's most controversial families, the Resilient Jenkins family. So if you haven't heard of the Resilient Jenkins, they're a TikTok account mostly run by the mother, although obviously the kids are a heavy focus in the content, as well as the husband. The mother, Stephanie, runs the TikTok account that currently, while I'm recording this, has 169.7 thousand followers. But the videos get way more views than that. They've definitely gone super viral. Some of their videos have over like 3 million and 7 million views. But honestly, they have blown up for all of the wrong reasons. We're gonna get into all the controversy surrounding them. There are a couple of textbook grifters named Stephanie and Andrew, or Drew, I've seen the husband called both, who recently have come under fire for the way that they live in a one-bedroom apartment with their 4 kids with another baby on the way. Now, obviously that might seem wild to have this family be so controversial over just living in a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, a lot of times people cannot control the circumstances that they're in, especially in today's world where everything is so crazy expensive. But I think when we get more into the backlash, you will start to see why they are as criticized as they are. The first video I ever saw of them, I didn't even realize that they were as controversial as they were. I think it's like their most viral video now, where Andrew, the dad, was giving one of the girls a pair of sneakers that like he worked hard to afford. And I thought that was super wholesome. I actually liked the video. I had no prior knowledge of who they were at all. And I just thought it was like a sweet moment and a nice video. And I think a lot of people can relate to like struggling to afford things. So yeah, to me it seems super wholesome. But then after liking that video, I think my algorithm was like, oh, you like Resilient Jenkins. Here's a bunch of videos about them. And before I knew it, my entire TikTok was flooded with people criticizing everything about them, and little did I know that video that I liked would start me down this entire rabbit hole. And I saw tons of videos about how like their kids don't have beds, but the dad has a PS5. There's baby mama drama with his like past baby mamas. It's a whole mess. And I quickly want to touch on family channels just in general a little bit, because I would say that some of the criticism they receive is sort of what all family channels receive, rightfully so. Family channels in general, whether on TikTok, YouTube, etc., have always been somewhat controversial, especially more and more recently they've been called out. I feel like in the past on YouTube, people didn't really think too much into it, but we've started to realize from TikTok accounts like Ren Eleanor, who I don't even know if Ren's the mom. I think the mom's name is Jacqueline actually, and Ren's the little girl. But that was like a huge TikTok account where all the videos of the little kid had tons and tons of saves, whereas like the videos that just featured the mom barely got any views. So kind of tells you what people were there to see. And oftentimes people see these family channels and things as the parents exploiting their kids for financial gain. It puts the kids in a position where people, strangers online, know about them already, which is unfair to the kids, not to mention it's unsafe. It could put them in a position where they're being bullied at school, and it could even put them in harm's way. But anyways, all of that to say, the Resilient Jenkins, I feel like, fall into criticism for a multitude of reasons. Some of it just being that like the ethics of family channels is obviously not great to begin with, but then on top of that, there's this whole other layer of like mess and drama surrounding them. And so the first controversy that I saw, most people, I would say most of the videos I saw were about this situation, was the living situation that the Resilient Jenkins are in. The biggest controversy surrounding their living situation being that the kids didn't have beds. I don't even know if right now they do have like proper beds. There's been a lot of miscommunication about that. But when they started their account, they were showing how they had to like roll out mats for the kids to sleep in the living room, while the parents had the primary bedroom with a queen size bed. They also had a TV and a PlayStation in there. So a lot of people were like, why the hell do you have a PlayStation and a TV in your bedroom and your kids are sleeping on mats in the living room?
As you can read in the caption above, we're a family of 6 going on 7 living in a one-bedroom apartment. As the kids grow older, that means we constantly have to adapt our environment to give them more means for privacy and extra space. When outside our environment appears cluttered, disorganized, what have you. But quite frankly, after making do for nearly 3 years now, I have nothing but a grateful spirit for the roof over our head. Generally, the instant judgment me and my husband receive, why have so many kids if you don't have enough space for them? See, my perception is judgment comes from a place of not having the experience. When you've experienced enough, you generally don't judge people. I can tell you after everything I've been through in the past 3 years, there's very little I have to judge people on. I would be lying if I said there wasn't a point in my life that I was so naive that I might have judged a poor person based off their appearance. And like I said, I have learned a lot. I generally look like I'm roughing it, but that's because our kids come first. I do everything I can to keep our environment clean and tidy. When it comes down to it, I could shove everything my kids have in one bedroom of some of these houses I see, and it would really look like nothing. We try to teach our kids to take care of what they have, be grateful for what we have. We keep praying and pushing for the growth that we want. Appreciate y'all watching. See you in the next video.
It also brought up a question of safety, obviously, because the kids are in like the first room that if, God forbid, someone did enter the home that was uninvited, they would be right there where the kids are sleeping. So it's just unsafe. It also is possible that one of the kids might get up in the night and like open the door and just wander out. They are pretty young kids. A lot of people have pointed out that they could easily have just sold the PS5, get the kids beds. And so people's criticism was like, why not sell that nice PS5 that you have and get your kids some beds, because you're saying you can't afford it, but you have a PS5, which I definitely think is valid. If this was me in this situation, I mean, one, I wouldn't be having another baby. That's a whole other criticism about them bringing another kid in, because you can't control the situation you have. If you already have your kids and you fall in hard times, what are you going to do? You kind of have to live and make do. But if I was in the situation, I would have my kids in the bedroom, little bunk beds for the 4 kids that are there. I would ideally not be pregnant with a 5th kid, and the parents could easily just sleep in a like pull-out or Murphy bed, whatever they're called, in the living room, which would be safer and also a lot easier to just put that bed up during the day to have like a living room, and then when the kids go to bed, pull the bed out and you can sleep out there. And apparently what I've seen on Reddit, I wasn't able to find and verify a whole lot of this, but the mom also has like a Dyson hairdryer. That's $500. Dad has a computer setup as well, which I'm sure was not cheap. And the parents actually did respond to this by saying that they didn't get the kids beds because their kids are rough on things and like had bent the beds, and the beds were like a safety hazard that they had, so they had to get rid of the broken beds and they didn't replace them.
Then they went on to address the bunk bed situation and why the kids do not have beds and why they only have foam. This part's quite interesting because they went on to blame the children for why they don't have beds. They said kids are quite destructive, and the beds that they had, they ruined, and they tore up the sheets, they bent the metal, and pretty much they were acting like these kids are like Superman, and they just were literally like tearing down the beds, and they like, it just became unsafe. So that's why they don't have beds anymore. And then he went on to mansplain what mattresses were. He's like, well, you know, mattresses are foam. Like when you went to go search for mattresses, they're memory foam. So that's what we got, was just foam.
Even that, a lot of people, myself included, were kind of thinking like, the mom doesn't work. She stays home all day with the kids. So how are they being so rough on the beds that it's breaking and she's not like intervening? It doesn't really make any sense. They've gotten a lot of criticism as well with people saying like, why the hell are you even having another baby when this is the situation you're in? Because like I said, if you already have the kids that you have and you fall in hard times, you really can't control that. Why would you be bringing another baby into the situation when you're already struggling to care for and provide for the kids you already have? And I do think that's a pretty valid question to ask them. And someone on Reddit kind of compiled a longer post of like everything that has been going on. I'm gonna show it here. I don't know if I'll read every single one, but I'll have it all on the screen here if you want to pause and read every single thing. So here's what they say. Everything I've gathered, and this is in the Resilient Jenkins Reddit page. They were not able to afford their kids new shoes and then used a gift of shoes as an unboxing video to get views. Dad has a PS5 TV computer. Mom seems to have a Dyson hairdryer. Their room has LED lights, decorations, what I believe is a king-size bed and a bed frame. Please note, this is not to say low-income people do not deserve nice things. It is to know that the parents are putting their desires before their child's needs. Which that I agree with too, because a lot of people are bringing up criticism that poor people should be allowed to have nice things, and I definitely agree with that. Like, I don't think that anyone, regardless of their income situation, should feel that they can never enjoy anything in life. But I do feel like it's valid for people to criticize and question why they would have all these nice things while their kids' core needs, like a place to sleep, aren't met. Apparently in July, she started posting about lice, and that seems to be an ongoing issue that they're dealing with. And they also have pets, which apparently have like fleas, and there's just, it seems kind of like a mess with that as well. She cleaned the litter box while pregnant without using a face mask or gloves, which puts her fetus at risk of toxoplasmosis, which can be very dangerous for said fetus. She admitted to their clothes being moldy at one point because they were unwashed. So that's insane. And again, just like the living situation, you can't control the cards that you're dealt if you fall in hard times, but you can control the cleanliness and safety of the space for your children, and that is definitely not her taking responsibility. And I also, again, the criticism that she was receiving with that is she's home all day. Her whole job is to stay home and watch the kids and like maintain the household while the husband works, used loosely, but even that, she's not even doing the laundry. So I don't know. She's gotten criticism for making an Amazon wish list. And it seems like she wants to blow up on TikTok so that she doesn't have to work and so that they can have even more kids. And this all just seems like a ploy for money without having to work a traditional job. Neither of them work traditional jobs, which is insane to me considering the financial situation that they're in. They're not really in a place to be not working. And mind you, they're not working because they just fell in hard times and they're trying to find work. She doesn't work because she wants to stay home with the kids and she doesn't want her kids to be raised by someone who's going to raise them with like values that are different from hers. But the dad doesn't work because he thinks that he's above a regular job where he's not going to be valued and paid enough, and that he's overqualified for these jobs, so he shouldn't have to do them. So he does DoorDash, apparently. I don't know how much he does DoorDash or how often. I don't know what they make from that, but that's kind of his main job. And they have spoken down on W-2 jobs, which, if you don't know what that means, a W-2 employee is a formally employed individual working for a company or organization in the United States. W-2 employees are entitled to specific benefits and protections under U.S. law and are subject to tax withholding, such as Medicare and Social Security. He doesn't have a regular W-2 job. As I've said, they've talked down about it a lot. And people quickly discovered that the main reason why he doesn't want a regular job is because when he was working a regular job, his wages were being garnished to pay child support to one of his other baby mamas. So yeah, that just adds a whole nother layer of controversy and mess to the situation. It seems like he's avoiding a regular job because he doesn't want his wages garnished. And if it's like DoorDash, I guess if he just gets paid through the app, that doesn't really happen. I don't know if he's filing his taxes because surely they would claim that he owes some of that. I don't know. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer. I don't know how any of that works. But they also made a huge Amazon wish list that people have been very generously purchasing from. And they make videos doing like unboxings of all the stuff. And they have gotten criticism as well because people were thinking that all the items on the list were for the kids. But then like the dad was seen wearing socks that were in the list. Now I will say, not to fully defend the Jenkins family here, but they didn't say specifically who the stuff was for. And they were men's socks that were bought. But I think a lot of people thought they were for the oldest son. And there was also a lot of pointless stuff on the Amazon list, which if people are being generous, like you would think that you would put that all towards your kids and bettering the living space for them. But it was things like a keyboard duster, a ring light, a rain shower head, things like that. Just stuff that they really don't need at all, and that money could have been better spent towards something that the kids actually need. So yeah, the dad does DoorDash, refuses to get a regular job. The mom doesn't want to work and only wants to do TikTok content. And it's interesting, even that to me, it's kind of like a flawed excuse. She says that her reason for not wanting a regular job is because then she'll have to have like childcare and her kids will be raised by someone who's going to raise them with values that she doesn't want them raised with, which is kind of giving like unschooling if you've heard about that. I will say there's plenty of work from home jobs that she could at least look into doing. I'm not saying it would be easy to work with the kids around, but even if she tried to do that like part-time or when the dad's around when he's not doing DoorDash, surely that could be an option. But it just seems like they really have no interest in bettering their financial situation if it requires work from them. They just want to have everything paid for and get popular on TikTok so they don't have to work a regular job. And now this brings us to the baby mama drama, which is really fun to say, baby mama drama. But anyways, so the husband, Andrew or Drew, has 2 prior baby mamas before Stephanie. The first baby mama is who we're going to talk about first, obviously, which is Arleta, and she is the mother of Drew's oldest son who does not live with the Resilient Jenkins. So in the Resilient Jenkins household, there's Andrew and Stephanie, the parents. Stephanie has 2 kids from a prior marriage or relationship. Drew has 1 kid that lives with them from a prior marriage, and then 1 kid that does not live with them. And then they also have an infant who is their baby together, and she is pregnant with their second baby together. So that's kind of the picture. I know it's a little bit confusing. So Arleta, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I've only seen her name like written. She went on TikTok to discuss how Andrew is avoiding paying her child support, and that's how people realize that his whole disdain for W-2 jobs is actually him avoiding his wages being garnished. Arleta exposed that he actually has 2 sons, not 1 like everyone had initially thought, and she exposed that he hasn't seen her son with him in like 7 years now. So I'm going to play her videos here now, and just obviously she's going to do a better job of explaining the situation because she is in the situation. So I will play those here now for you.
The reality is she had 2 children, he had a son.
Hi. Since we're on here speaking about the Resilient Jenkins, actually, he has more than 1 son. Hi, I'm the first baby mama. I'm absolutely embarrassed the fact that that's my sperm donor. I will not be posting my child on here because y'all not gonna know. But my son is almost 12. Since everybody wants to kind of chime in, that man that everybody's saying they have 2 loving parents, walked out of his son's life when he was 2. Okay, hasn't seen his son since he was 5, and that's because I reached out to him to come to his kindergarten graduation, and at the time he only had 1 child, which was the little black boy you guys see in his videos. That's my oldest's little brother. Now my oldest, who's at the top because he will be 12, doesn't even know he has 2 other siblings. So no, they didn't meet when he had 1 child. He probably has more. He hasn't paid child support, but he has a PS5. I feel bad for those kids. I literally feel bad for my child's siblings, sad to say, that they have to sleep on the floor And that man has not changed. And it's disrespectful. Mind you, my child's name is being changed. I'm at work, but I keep seeing this shit, and it makes my blood boil. My son doesn't have to worry about anything. He's in a loving home. He has grandparents. He has his aunties, his uncles, close family members that are surrounded. My son is loved, and he knows he's loved. And I'm so glad I kept my son out of that situation. Because I never not wanted my son to not know his dad. And he's asked, and I've tried. I have receipts. I've tried to get him to be a part. Even his son asked, Mommy, I just want to know my dad. Why can't I see my dad? Mind y'all, when that happened, I reached out to him. He read the message, never replied. So I had to put my son in counseling just because I knew it was bothering him, and there was nothing that I could say that was going to help him. I just told him, your dad made choices, and he chose to make those choices. It has nothing to do with you. So for people that are saying like, oh, they're in a one-bedroom apartment there with 2 loving parents. No, that's not love. You don't put your kids on the floor. You sacrifice for your kids. You don't put your kids on the floor. His priorities were messed up, and that's why we never worked the fuck out. That's why we didn't work out. Because his priorities, as you guys can see, are all messed up. And now you're going viral. For what? And then you continue to make more babies, and you continue to take care of the first one that you had. He don't even know you, but he wanted to know you. You don't even know how great of a kid you got. And I'm so blessed that he doesn't have to worry about being in that situation. He would never have to be there. But what I am sad for is he's never going to know his siblings. And the way Portland is so small, no telling if he would ever run into his siblings when he gets older and not even know it. I have to protect my baby, y'all. I can't even let him see this. He don't have no phone, but I'm sure there'll be somebody out there that can, and he'll see it. So now I have to kind of keep him at bay and let him know myself. But yeah, Andrew, I hope you showed up to your court case for your child support. That was on October 2nd. It is October 29th. See, she said in her live earlier that God has been blessing them. No, baby. God ain't blessing you. Andrew's karma is about to do a 360. And while the Oregon's been looking for you, Andrew Alexander Jenkins, all the shit you've been doing, literally all the shit you've been doing, is going to come back tenfold. Your dad, bless his soul, that he ain't here to see this. You're an embarrassment. I'm sick. But I have the most beautiful son. And he would never be nothing like you. Ever. He has a heart of gold. He's a leader. Do you hear me? My son gives compliments about how he is. He's bright. Oh, he's bright. But that last name that my son is carrying is coming off. Off. You've hurt my son in ways that I can't explain. And he may not show it. But I know sometimes it bothers him. So what I'm going to do is protect my baby. But what I do know, what I really do know, is the 12 years you've been running, no matter if you got clean or not, you're still doing the same bullshit. Same bullshit. 12 years. My baby 12. And you're still on the same bullshit. And every time, and it's not something that I want to fucking know. Nothing that I want to know. Nothing. You're an embarrassment. She's an embarrassment. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what people are saying. It's an embarrassment. You should be embarrassed. And if you could sleep at night knowing that your kids sleep on that floor and you're able to just be up in a room decked out with a PS5 and you don't even take care of your first child and you think you about to be blessed. Oh no. God don't work like that. God don't work like that. Not the God I serve. Not who I talk to. Not who's protecting me. Not who's been protecting my child. So yeah, keep thinking that they're in a house with 2 loving parents. No, they're in a house with 2 selfish parents who don't care about their upbringing and live nasty. And that's why my son was never around. And I'm so glad. And I'm so glad I'm raising a well-mannered young man with the help of my family and my husband. So resilient Jenkins, keep thinking you're about to be blessed. Because shit's about to hit the fan for you, Andrew. For you.
And in the videos, as you can hear there, she discusses how she's really sad that Andrew has basically abandoned her son. And I definitely agree with that. I feel like people like Andrew, I mean, it's hard to say, I don't know him, but it seems like he's the type of person who doesn't really care how his actions will impact his kids, whether it's the kids that live with him or the ones that don't. And all this is really sad. Like, the living situation that they're in is sad. The broken families is also really sad. And I mean, I think that Arlita is probably better off not being with him, but it is sad that he doesn't even want to see his son or anything like that, just because that's a burden that the child will carry, and that's a trauma that is going to stay with him. And I think he's very fortunate to have a loving home with Arlita, but that doesn't change the fact that that's still a traumatic experience for a child to go through. And as Arlita also mentioned in the video, someday her son will see the content posted, all this drama, the content that they're posting themselves, plus all the controversy surrounding them. She has mentioned that she's keeping him off of TikTok and trying to get him not to see it, but that she is aware that like someday someone is going to bring that up to him, or he's going to hear it, or there's going to be gossip, and you know, he will find out, or he'll look up his dad wondering about who he is, where he is. And it does suck that, again, people like Stephanie and Andrew don't really have any foresight or any thought about how that will impact their kids. Like, they just post all this online thinking they're just sharing their lives, but it's like those kids, that's their life too. They're going to grow up to be adults who will know that all of their information as a child was blasted online. And that is really difficult, and that is a big issue with family channels in general, is that it kind of takes that choice away from the kids of what they want shared, and everything is just shared for them. And the main thing that she discusses in the video as well, that people were like, holy shit, this is crazy, is that she discusses how he owes her child support and has been avoiding going to court over the child support owed. And people are speculating that Drew and Stephanie aren't actually married, because if they were married, her income would be garnished as well. So like her TikTok income and stuff like that. I'm not sure how that works, but that's just what everyone is kind of saying through like digging through their personal information. I'm not personally going to go digging because I don't want to see anything they have not posted. Is really, I don't feel like my business, but that's just kind of what's been going on there and what people are commenting. And Arlita did show the court document in the TikTok as well, just as receipts, because obviously you never know with people online. Like, someone could come on and just say that they know the family, or oh, I'm the old baby mama and whatever, and he owes this and this. You could easily just say that and it not be true for attention or whatever. So she did prove that it is in fact very true. And then Arlita made an update video, which I'll also just play that quickly here now, just so you can kind of get a full idea of her videos.
Hey y'all, I just wanted to get on here and thank you guys. Like, seriously, thank you guys for the love and support and the kind words. I've also seen some other things. Some of y'all up here is not all the way there. Some of y'all comments, y'all just be saying stuff. Literally just be saying stuff. But I did want to get on here and thank you guys for love, support, kind words, and like give you guys an update, because we did talk to my son last night, me and his dad, who's been in his life since he was 3. Literally sat him down yesterday after school. I came home from work on my lunch, and we told him what happened. We told him that his biological father went viral on TikTok, and it wasn't for good, and that he had his siblings sleeping on the floor, and that he's in a decked out room with a PS5 and flat screen TVs. And I told him, I said I didn't want him to see that, because I made a response video to how he left him, and I exposed him. And he asked me, he was like, how many siblings do I have? And I said, well, you have 2 little brothers. And I said, and the person that he's with, she's currently pregnant, and we don't know if it's a boy or girl. And y'all, when I tell you, his eyes welled up, and he just kind of just started falling, and it started making me upset. Me and him both cried. And I told him, I said, like I told you before, it has nothing to do with you. It literally has nothing to do with you. Your dad made choices, and those are the choices he made. And his dad sat between us, and he held us, and then he let us have our moment together. And I just gave him the biggest hug, and I told him, I said, baby, if you need mommy to put you back in counseling, just let me know. I'm here to protect you. That is my job as a mom. As a mom, I'm here to protect you. I will go to hell for you. Literally. I will go to jail for you. Like, you're my baby. You're my firstborn. You're everything. And I know it bothers you. And I know it does. Even though I reassure him all the time, like, it has nothing to do with you. And His dad does the same thing. You tell him it has nothing to do with you. Your biological father made choices, and that's the choices he chose to make. You're still going to be bright. You're still going to be smart. You're still going to be the person you are. You're still going to be great at what you do, because it has nothing to do with you. But I am going to protect you. I am going to go to war for you. I am going to do everything. And the thing about it is, his sperm donor got up on this internet here and flaunted like he's some great dad, and he's not. He literally walked out of his life. That's why he can't tell y'all. I literally, if I wanted to, I would expose everything. But I don't want to do that because I know one day my son might see this. And I never spoke bad about his dad, or his father, excuse me. I never spoke bad about his father in front of him. So I'm not going to get on this internet knowing that one day he might see this and I'm speaking crazy. And these are things that he doesn't know. So I want him to have his own opinion, his own judgment. And today, after we came back from trick-or-treating, I asked him, like, since everything came out, how do you feel? And he goes, to be honest, Mom, and literally, this is his own words, y'all. He said, to be honest, Mom, I wasn't thinking about it until you said something. I was like, okay. He was like, yeah, I wasn't thinking about it until you said something. I'm fine. I said, okay. I just went to check in and make sure, because that's a lot. It was a lot on Mommy, and I just went to make sure he was fine. And he's fine. He literally said, I'm fine, Mommy. It's okay. And we changed the subject, and we talked about something else on the way home. And then he went to his other cousin's house to go trick-or-treating. So, like, not trick-or-treating, but to go stay the night with. So I just want to get on here and thank everybody that supported me, and people that are in a similar situation as me or went through the same thing as me. I appreciate all the kind words. Like, I really do. I really do. And I'm going to have him make a wish list, and I'm going to have his brothers in on it too, because I know he will want that. And so when we get it, or when I get their wish list from them, so give me some time, y'all. Give me some time, please give me some time, because I am a working mom, and I be tired, and I just be going sometimes. But once I get it, I'll make the wish list on Amazon, and then I'll post it in my bio. I'll also post my Venmo in there as well. Yeah, but that was never my intentions. But since you guys want to support him, and I'm all for it, because that's literally who it's going to go for. It's literally going to go to the kids. Like, my stuff will go for the kids. And you out here flying like you a great daddy, and you out here got your kids on the floor, and you still ain't took care of your first one. So I exposed you. And for the people who think I did it for clout or did it for anything otherwise, trust me, I have no reason to. I literally have no reason to. Trust me, before I posted that video, I already sent information to the child support case office, to our case manager, actually. I actually emailed her and sent her information before I posted my first video, about it.
So in her update there, you can hear that she told her son because she wanted him to hear about the TikTok from her and not other people, which I definitely think that's a good idea, because like she said, people talk, people will show him or talk to him about it eventually. It's definitely better for him to hear that from her in a loving way than for him to hear it in passing and not even know about it. And she told him about the siblings that he has and how she knows that it definitely does bother him, which again, like, this just shows how little concern for how this will impact the kids that the resilient Jenkins have. And that's why I feel like a lot of the criticism against them is very valid. And it may seem like crazy to tell her kid about all this. Like, maybe her kid doesn't need to know the drama about her dad, but I definitely see where she's coming from, where it's better he hears it from her. And kids talk, people talk. TikTok is huge right now, and like, even young people, like really young kids, are on TikTok and could hear about the situation. And it's definitely better he hears it from his mom and can talk about how he feels and keep that open communication than for him to not even know. And then what if a kid brings it up in school or something? You know what I mean? Now, so that's one baby mama. Obviously the situation is a mess, but it seems like Arleta definitely has things under control as much as she can. She's a loving home for her and her kid, and that is the most important thing there. The second baby mama is a little bit of a different story, I would say. So the second baby mama is named Desiree, and unlike the first one, who was owed child support and has receipts to show it, Desiree has kind of came across some controversy herself. I see a lot less people talk about her, probably just because like there was less to go off of. She didn't really prove anything. She didn't really say a whole lot in her videos.
You're just gonna get bunk beds for the girls, but not your own son. You're a fucked up dad. You're out here saying I'm a fucked mom, but you rather support your girls instead of support your son. That's fucked up. Like I said, the hurricane is coming for both of y'all, so be ready, because it's coming hard. You better hold on tight.
People on Reddit have found it quite telling that the son that she has with Andrew lives with Andrew and not with her. So unlike Arlita, whose son lives with her and Andrew does not see him, Andrew has the son that he has with Desiree with them. So that's the son that lives in the apartment with him and Stephanie. Now, there have been mixed reports, so to speak. I don't know if you can call them reports, but like people on TikTok, Reddit, everyone kind of digging into the situation. I've seen mixed things about whether Andrew has sole custody or whether Desiree is supposed to have sole custody, but like never went to get the son. But either way, people are saying that it does look kind of bad that he either got custody, which is definitely hard because usually courts will favor the mother unless the situation is pretty serious. So that looks bad on its own. Or the flip side is she has custody, but the son is with Andrew and she's not tried to like go retrieve her son, even though she would have a right to. So no matter what, it does look kind of bad. And I feel like Desiree has definitely caught a little bit more flack for that. And this is just a comment from Reddit, but someone said, well, apparently he doesn't have custody and she's just never bothered to try to fight to be able to collect him. So she's got no right to ask, where's his bed? Girl, where's his mom? I just like the Jenkins, but she's just as bad. She also made a TikTok, I'll play it here, asking random people on TikTok to take her to go pick up her son because she like wanted to go get him, which I don't think that that's a good idea. It's not safe. And if you have to ask random strangers on TikTok to take you to get your kid, I don't know that that's really the best idea. I don't think I even have to go into fully why, but like that's just not great.
TikTok followers or anyone, does anyone available to come pick me up at my house so I can go get my son from them crazies? Like emergency. Need to go get him. I have my other son with me, but I need to get over there. I need a car. I need a ride. Anybody available to give me the ride to go get my baby? Like ASAP. Needs to happen now. Anyone, let me know. Please. A ride to go get him from that house. Please. Any followers, anybody that's available, ASAP right now.
And that TikTok itself has been deleted, so I'm not sure what the comments were looking like on it, but I'm sure a lot of people were saying, like, this is not it. And people on Reddit were saying if she doesn't have custody, then going to try to take the kid is really a bad idea, which, yeah, it's not legal. And I will say on Reddit, there's been a little bit more discussion and people trying to dig up more on her past. I'm not going to talk about any of that here because it hasn't really been brought to, like, TikTok or publicized that much. It's just people saying what they found. But you can see a lot if you are interested to dig a little bit deeper. You can see more of that on the Resilient Jenkins Snark page on Reddit. I just don't want to put it all in here. But this brings us to, so that was kind of Andrew's past, his baby mama drama. That brings us into Stephanie's past. There's definitely some weirdness and controversy. I don't even know what to call it. It's like even more extreme than that, I would. So Andrew, the father's past, has been heavily publicized and talked about online. And obviously Andrew having the baby mama drama led people into looking into Stephanie because she has 2 kids from a prior marriage as well. So people obviously were wondering, okay, well, who are their biological dad? Like what's going on there? And there's also a private investigator apparently on TikTok who I couldn't find those videos. I could only find videos of people talking about it who were more closely following the situation at the time. But an alleged private investigator posted info about Stephanie on TikTok, and apparently her previous partner has committed some very heinous crimes from a young age, including assault against a child, and he is in jail. And apparently Stephanie knew about his past because this was dating back to when he was a kid and she still married him. So that's not great. I'm going to play a couple of TikToks here, just people recounting what the private investigator allegedly, I say that alleged because I mean, who knows? Anyone can say they're a private investigator, but this is just sort of a TikTok about what was found.
Another update on the not so resilient Jenkins. And this is something that there's a private investigator on here. I know you might think it was me, but no, I'm just nosy. But there's someone who it is their literal job on here who has unearthed some unsettling details about the resilient, not so resilient Jenkins. And I will put a link to her page, but some of the things that we have unearthed are that Stephanie Jenkins, who is actually Stephanie Thomas, is not actually married to Andrew, Mr. Deadbeat Daddy. She's not actually married to Deadbeat Daddy. She's married to somebody who has SA'd children, a pedo, will you? Okay? But also someone who has SA'd their own mother. I don't even know what that's called. But she married him because when he had done this, he was 16, at least the thing that he did to his mother. And then he's in jail for actually essaying another child. I'm going to need you to guys just to like, honestly, buck up, girlies. Buck up. This is unacceptable. There is no reason to ever be this desperate. Okay? There is honestly, mama's mad. I'm mad. Okay? Like, let's get it together. And not that I expected much from Stephanie, but come on, girl. Have some shame. Have some shame. And she knew this when she married him. It's just sickening. The only thing she didn't know is that he would do it again. But is that even, what? No. Also, Stephanie's mother, the children's grandmother, has been on Facebook talking about how since she was with that other horrible man, talking about how she does not feel like her granddaughters are safe. Because she was married to a man that essayed children. I don't know. The end of 24 is getting wild, and I need you guys to get it together. So another update on...
And then Stephanie has made a couple of videos after that saying how, like, she wants to tell her side, but, like, she never really does. She never explains anything about it, so it doesn't really give people a whole lot to go off of. The other thing that Stephanie specifically has been called out for is her seemingly weird, for lack of a better term, and for lack of a term that YouTube will allow me to say, but let's just say it rhymes with fetishizing behavior and attitude towards having a mixed race baby. So first of all, her bio on TikTok reads, blended multicultural family of 6 going on 7. And she's made a handful of TikToks specifically about the baby she had with Drew, who is mixed race because Drew is a black man and she is a white woman. And she's made comments like, on her TikTok here, when you manifested a beautiful multicultural baby years ago, and she's also referred to that baby as beastly, has made comments about how African babies are different and they're beasts and they grow so fast, and just like weird, very strange comments specifically denoting his like race and his ethnicity. Now obviously as a white person I don't feel like it's fully my place to say like my opinion about that, but obviously it seems pretty friggin' weird, needless to say. And here is a comment on Reddit that I think put it into words really well, just like how bizarre that is and how wrong that is. She's also referred to that child and her husband as beastly and says that her husband has a superior genetics, making it impossible for the baby she's carrying to be harmed by her cleaning out the litter box. As a person of color, I immediately felt like she was making it seem like they were less than human. It is so unfortunate that she is raising biracial children with a mindset like that. Which, yes, I fully agree. Like, I think the way that she's talking about them, it is so weird for her to talk about how they have beastly genetics. I mean, it's literally dehumanizing them. And she's also using it as an excuse to engage in potentially harmful behavior while pregnant.
Stop following the resilient Jenkins, okay? And there's a couple reasons for this, and it's not just the whole living situation. First of all, racism, okay? She posts a lot of things like this. Point of view, you're pregnant with superior genetics that fight through terrain of macaco, and more so you don't let fear hold you back from doing normal tasks. Let's go to the description of this page. The hashtags are superior genetics, African baby, strong baby, pregnancy. She talks about her hubby's African genetics and how they're superior. And honestly, this is giving black people or African people don't feel pain as much because of their genetics. Or, ooh, let's breed these while people were enslaved, okay? This type of messages are not okay, okay? They're not okay. Then she talks about her son, or her stepson's baby mama. To the baby mama that brought my son into the world, I thank you for bringing him into the world, but I will never forgive you for chugging while my little man was just trying to develop in the womb. I thank Jesus his daddy's genes protected him from more damage. Again, the superior gene crap, as well as bringing the baby's mama, as well as this child's information to the internet, and talking about how pretty much, I guess this baby mama had an alcohol issue. She goes more into detail in the description. And now their son has some extra issues because if you know that, I can't remember what it's called, but infant alcohol syndrome or something like that. He has extra issues because of that. But she says because of the genes, he's okay, or it's not as bad. And then let's go back to the cat situation, because in this small apartment, they have 2 cats. They have posted about them having flea situation, about one of the cats having skin situations that they could not afford. They still have that cat, so I don't know what happened with that. As well as they talk about how the litter stinks so much because if you know, I have a cat. Yeah, those dookies are rancid, okay? Rancid. But to make it better, they put essential oils in the litter, which can literally kill your cat. But also on the chat, you know what? I'm not even going into that because we know why you should not be having two cats in this small situation that you already are having a hard time with. And the fact that you whole smell is just permeating through one room is not healthy. It's not healthy. Okay. But these are some of the reasons why we should not be following. It's not about, yes, the other things that people have been talking about, but they're problematic. Okay? They are problematic.
She also has accused Drew's prior baby mama of drinking while pregnant with the son that they have in their care right now. She has said that his African genes allowed him to fight off and protect him from further damage, which again is dehumanizing. But also that's just false information. Not to mention it's also blasting that son's health information publicly, which I'm sure as he gets older, he will not appreciate that at all. I know I wouldn't for sure if my parents did that. I am so glad. My parents would have never done that anyways. And my parents were very stickler about internet safety. My dad worked in IT, so he was all about internet safety. They would have never done that. But I'm very glad that I grew up in a time where this wasn't even an option. There was no TikTok. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook, when I was born in 96, so it just was not a thing. I remember distinctly, I went to a private school and sometimes they would update the photos on the website, which I'm sure the website gets no views really. It's not like these people getting millions of views on a TikTok. It's a website for a private school in a small town. And even then, for us to be in a posed photo on the website, our parents had to sign permission slips, whereas now people just post everything all the time with no regard for where it could go. So yeah, it's just so weird to see how things have changed over time. So here's a post on Instagram that says, "My handsome Puerto Rican African baby boy will take his tortilla chips over any snack all day." And the caption says, "I'm proud of my son's genetics, and I've loved watching him get into food as he gets bigger. I try to give him access to foods that are traditional all cultures, but I currently work with limited ingredients and space. I do educate myself. I could definitely educate myself more. I try my best to expose my son to his background and keep him proud of his genetics." That is one thing. And then other people have also been saying that on top of her weird fascination with the ethnicity of the babies and her husband, it also is kind of giving breeding in a way when she's talking about her fascination with wanting a multicultural baby. And one of the main TikToks that she made was that if her account blows up and if they can flip their financial position, that she gets to have more babies because she's not finished having babies yet. A lot of people commented on that too, saying it's about being pregnant, it's not even about the kids. And she used to make really odd, kind of gross, definitely too far comments for posting. Those are inside thoughts and not outdoor thoughts, saying that her husband will hump her or let her hump away and have more babies. And here's one from Reddit where someone said, "I wish I got it before she took it down, but she had another video begging people to make her viral so her man can keep pumping. It was so gross." They both have a breeding kit and she sees black babies as prizes. So yeah, that is sort of everything that they have been called out for. And they did make a longer video responding to some of it. So I'm going to play that here now. I'm going to interrupt obviously in between just so that we can pause and kind of talk about what they're saying. Now, they titled it Resilient Jenkins Response Part 1. I was never able to find a Part 2. I don't know if they posted and deleted it or if it got taken down. I could not find anything, but the first part is 10 minutes anyways, so it is a long response regardless. So yeah, I'm going to play that here now and I'm going to pause in between just to kind of touch on or maybe even debunk some of what they're saying.
I guess a public response, kind of.
Yeah, our public response.
Cool. What should we address first?
Let's address the child support thing.
Child support. Okay. The child support and child. I have the one other child, Anthony. I've been paying child support via garnishments ever since I can remember.
Okay, I know we're literally 30 seconds in, but just to quickly say, he says he's been paying child support via garnishments. Garnishment meant his wage had to be taken by the courts because he was not paying. So he says that that's just normal. Oh yeah, I was paying via garnishments. It's he can say, I was paying via e-transfer for months. No. Garnishment meant he already went so long without paying that they had to step in and start removing it from his wage before his wage even hit his bank account because he was not paying when he was supposed to. Anyways.
I worked out with W-2 since I was 18, 19. Worked nights, multiple jobs, never made above 22 an hour.
Or jobs that worked your body to the bone. And
yeah, I worked retail, I worked overnight, I worked at Home Depot.
Work jobs that worked your body to the bone. Yeah, like retail.
Where else did I work? I worked at Jackson's. I worked at Grocery Outlet. I pumped gas. I pumped gas. I did HVAC for a year, and even HVAC. People say, "Oh, HVAC, you pay." Hey, I was there for a year, doing the most work, coming on the weekends to do scrap metal, and then going to Jackson's. And I only got a $4 raise after a year, and people got an $8 raise, making 32 plus, and they sat me at 24.
now the HVAC company, that's a whole other story in and of itself, because he drove all over the place for that company. He was the one working the hardest for that company, and yet they would not increase his pay. They increased the pay of 3 of the other employees while he was working there.
Anything.
Okay, that makes me curious. Sorry I'm pausing so much, but I will forget. I have ADHD. That makes me wonder though, first of all, how long were the other employees working there that got that huge raise? And also, I mean, I don't really believe anything that they say, but even to say they wouldn't increase his wage, a $4 increase from after 1 year of working, I would say that's pretty significant. I don't know if maybe where they live it's different, but where I live, that is not really something that typically happens. $4 is, like, I would say that's a pretty good raise. But yeah, it's also interesting that I find enables him to like have such a poor work ethic a lot by saying like, oh, you're working these jobs that are working to the bone. He's like, yeah, I was working retail. I worked at Home Depot. I worked at a grocery store. I was pumping gas for a bit. First of all, why are you not staying at any job? You want to get a raise, but yet your employment history from what you're saying shows that you quit everything pretty quickly. But also, those are not hard jobs. Like, I work retail right now. I would never be like, I work to the bone.
It's my workload didn't equal out what I felt to what I was getting paid, who deserved to get paid, especially how fast I was picking things up and how hard I was working. And there wasn't any complaints. The complaint was, oh, you're requesting too many days off. Yes, because I want more money, so I'm trying to find other ways to make money.
So he didn't feel like he was getting paid enough. He would take a bunch of time off and try to go work different jobs during that time off, which what are you even doing that like you can work another job just in the time off? What even job would that be? I'm guessing DoorDash or something, because he wants more money and then is shocked when his employer is like, sorry, you take way too much time off. We're not giving you, first of all, they gave him a $4 raise, but they're not giving him more than that. And the reason why other people got a better raise is probably because they were there every day that they were supposed to be.
And so then I went back to Jackson's, and worked days and nights, 60 hours plus, and tried to make sure I washed every window, tried to do every little detail to get any kind of tips.
This man has done everything he can to provide.
The child support thing, I don't know what to tell anybody. I've been paying for years via garnishment. They've taken out 9-10 grand from taxes, and I let them. I didn't fight any of it. If the other party hasn't received it, that is not on me. I don't have any of that money. I think I owe $6,000 is all I owe, which most of that got taken care of last year, and everything else is via garnishment, except for now, because I haven't gotten. I guess except for now, but I'm 4 or 5 months behind. Things happen. So it's not like I don't know about it. What else? Huh?
They want to know why you're not involved in stuff.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
I don't need to explain why. I don't need to explain everything. I can't explain everything.
And that's the thing it's not their life for us to explain. It's our life. It's our perspective. It's what we've been through.
Well, people are going to judge regardless,
and that's fine.
I know. I've been judged all my life. I'm just letting them know they think the child support's one thing, and this is, if they believe people are going to believe one side or the other. That's entirely up to whoever watches or listens to this. And same with the job thing. I've worked.
Okay, again, really quick to interrupt there, but like the way that he talks about it, they're saying this is a video to like clear the air, response video, whatever. Stephanie's like, okay, they want to know about the child support. He loosely explains that. I would say not even well. It's mostly him blowing smoke up his own ass about how hard he works and her saying he's done everything to provide for this family, which he literally hasn't. The main thing he could do to provide for the family is to go get a regular full-time job. That would be the best case scenario. And also, he talks about how he paid via garnishments, but doesn't include the fact that garnishment only happens when you're not paying on time properly yourself. And now he's fallen behind 4 to 5 months because things happen, which again is not really an explanation at all. And then she says that people want to know why he's not involved in his other son's life. And even with that, I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from in the sense that like, yeah, you don't have to tell anyone that. Like, that is definitely a personal issue, and maybe his son doesn't want that out there either. So I think out of respect for his son, it would actually be better if he didn't say that. But why even ask him that then if he's not going to say? And then they're like, yeah, we don't have to tell anyone anything. It's our life. Like, we don't have to explain it. So why did you even bring it up, first of all? But second of all, this very passive, like, well, I don't know anyone any explanation. But yet you want these people, these viewers, to make you famous so you can keep having babies and to buy you stuff off your Amazon list, but you don't want to talk to them about what's really going on? Oh, sorry, I forgot. And then the manipulation too of being like, people are going to think what they want to think. They can hear her story, they can hear my story. Those believe whatever side they want to believe. So whatever. That is a very common manipulation tactic that people use when they are not being truthful or when they know that the story does not look good for them. Instead of actually explaining or trying to make things right at all, it's just, well, you're just going to believe whatever you want to believe anyway, so I shouldn't even bother. I don't even have to explain because you're just going to think what you want to think.
And same with the job thing. I've worked and people think, oh, you never blah, blah, blah. I've worked. I always work. And I hate not working. But I hate also not getting paid for my time or for my worth. And people say, oh, you don't know your worth. Of course I know my worth. Everybody should know their worth.
Hence why we're no longer...
I've done plenty of jobs in my lifetime. I feel like I should get paid a certain amount. What else are we addressing? The destructiveness.
Yeah.
But yeah, as mentioned in the video where they were kind of like talking down on W-2 jobs, this idea that I know what I'm worth and I want to work, but not if you're not going to pay me enough. If you cannot provide for your kids and your kids are sleeping on mats on the floor, I don't give a shit what you think you're worth. You need to be working a real job. Like, you're not only impacting yourself and your own living situation, which would be one thing, but you're putting your kids into a situation that they did not sign up to be in. I would have a different opinion on this if they were both working and they just like were having trouble making ends meet, because the world is really unaffordable right now, and a lot of people are like 1 or 2 missed paychecks away from homelessness. Like, that is a statistic. I would have a lot more empathy and sympathy for them if they were trying, and if things just were not going well and maybe they were doing TikTok on the side hoping people could help them out. That would be totally different. But to blast your terrible living situation online, including showing your kids' faces and showing what they're doing and that they're breaking their beds and they're doing this and blah, 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 and not work a regular job because you think that you deserve to make more than that, is insane behavior. It's irresponsible. It's not fair. Anyways,
There's
a speculation going around that we bought, quote unquote, bought foam toppers for our kids. They had frames, they had mattresses, sheets, pillows, the works, even little drapes on their
princess tapestries.
They hung on everything and bent everything and broke it and tore it down, and
kids are destructive. They're especially our two girls. They
bent the hell out of the metal frames and all that, making it more or less a hazard. So we had to remove it from the house, and then they tore up their sheets and all bed covers and all that. And if you guys don't know, when anybody orders a bed is a giant piece of foam. When you go on to order a bed, it says foam mattress or memory foam with the pillow topper. It's all foam.
They're being so snarky. So basically what they're referring to here is when they did get like the beds for the kids, people were like, why is it just like a foam topper? Like, you know, a mattress topper, it's like an inch or two of memory foam that is on top of a mattress just for like added softness. They essentially got foam toppers or like bed roll type things. And so people call them out and were like, why, if you're gonna get them beds, like get them real mattresses, why are they just having these like mattress toppers and foam toppers? And now they're being really snarky and being like, well, if you look up a mattress, they're foam mattresses. Okay, I have a memory foam mattress, which I actually don't like it that much. It's too soft. I have back pain anyways. But it's like this thick probably, at least, maybe even more, like that, of foam. And it's foam that's designed to be able to hold the weight of a body. A foam topper, which is like an inch or two, is gonna sink down. You're gonna feel like you're just laying on the hard ground. Like that is not an equivalent swap out for a bed. It was probably cheaper, which is why they did that. The other thing that I don't get, I have a hard time believing that the kids even had the proper sheets and stuff, because how do kids, little kids, rip and tear their sheets all up to where they need to be thrown out and all that stuff? It doesn't make any sense. Like I could see over time, if they're hanging upside down on a bunk bed, eventually, yeah, I could see it bending and the parents being like, this is going to give out, like it's not safe. I don't believe that the kids were able to
rip and tear
their sheets and pillows and ruin the mattresses that they allegedly had. I feel like they just didn't have them to begin with, or the parents just didn't want to buy new ones, or maybe it was the sheets were in the moldy laundry and had to be thrown out. Who knows? But I myself, I don't think if I was to just like
rip
on a sheet like that, I don't even think I could rip it, and I'm a full grown woman, so there's no way those kids were like that destructive. And then the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, if the kids are that destructive, why is the mother who is home with them all day not stepping in and disciplining them and stopping that? Anyways,
if you guys didn't know, it's just I thought that was common knowledge, but I guess that's something that you guys know now.
There's this impression that I don't want better for the children, which doesn't make any sense to me. That's all I want is better for our kids. More space, more opportunity. And you say, oh, she's been posting about this for 3 years, and for 3 years I've been doing my absolute best to try to make something happen. And I did too. I worked W-2 jobs for a long time, and I'm not gonna justify the reason that being home with my kids, it's either I pay someone to watch my kids and raise them a way that I don't agree with, or I stay home and raise my kids and get to watch them grow and become their people. And that's the choice that I would rather have.
Oh, and of course, people think I want to stay in a one bedroom.
That's what I'm saying. They think we want to stay.
They think we want to stay in one bedroom. Things have increasingly got more expensive.
okay, really quick, I definitely agree that like I don't think they want to stay in that situation. I mean, it's clear just based on the massive Amazon list that they made that they want more. But Stephanie's saying that people were criticizing that she's been trying to do TikTok for 3 years, which is like not a job. I mean, it can be, but if you're trying and not succeeding, it's really not a job if it's not paying you. And her response is like, yeah, well, for 3 years I was working on building this. Okay, but that's 3 years of missed income then, because you just like thought you could do it. Most people who succeed on TikTok start with a regular job. They don't just like do nothing and hope that TikTok gets somewhere. It's more so something that when TikTok gets somewhere, they're able to quit their job because that income is already probably doubled, if not tripled, from their regular job before they quit. Now, her wanting to take care of her kids, I do get that. I think there is value in like motherhood and staying home and being able to watch and raise her babies, see them grow, all that stuff. I totally get what she's saying there. My issue mostly is like the dad's not doing that, but yet he also doesn't have a regular job. But I also think that you can want that, but if your kids, if you can't even afford to take care of them, their needs have to trump your wants, if that makes sense. Like your desire to stay home with them can't stop you from getting a job that would allow you to provide and have their needs met first.
Over the years.
Mm-hmm.
My rent has gone up.
It's gone up $300 since we got together.
Yeah, because it was what, $950.
Yeah.
People are going to judge me and have always judged me. All my life. That's nothing new to me. That's nothing new to me. All I know is I'm trying to do the best of with what I got. How I'm trying to do the best with what I have and how I know best. And people say, yes, get a W-2. I would love to get a W-2 that paid me decent enough. But getting a W-2 at 18...
Why does it just got to be about the pay?
20,
why does nobody consider the health aspect? That most of these W-2 jobs are sucking the life out of you. Why doesn't that matter?
Oh, because they don't care. It's not, and I get it. It's not about me. It's about my kids. But also,
like he said, it's not about me, it's about my kids. She's here basically like sounds like she's tearing up saying, those W-2 jobs are like making you miserable and they're like running you down, and why can't we care about that? Sorry, that's what literally everyone else has to do. You're not special. It's just a complete lack of work ethic and a complete disregard for the situation that you are forcing your kids to be in because you don't want to work. It's irresponsible. And again, this is why people are like, okay, if you already don't want to work and you're already having trouble caring for the kids you have, why are you pregnant with another baby? And it was not an accidental pregnancy because people on Reddit were sharing posts that were old from the Resilient Jenkins about like trying to conceive and stuff like that. So this was an intentional pregnancy that they cannot afford.
so I can't.
Well, you don't want to be here for your kids?
That's the thing. I want to be here for my kids, and I don't want a job to suck the life out of me. So I'm coming home. I'm going to work hating my job, and I'm hating my life because my job is sucking the life out of me.
Again, I know we just said it, but that is what everyone else has to do. You don't have to have a job that sucks the life out of you, but if every job sucks the life out of you and makes you hate your life, then that is a work ethic issue. Somehow everyone else seems to make it work and is able to work their jobs and get their pay and whatever, but yet they can't. It's just too much and it's working them to the bone. I cannot with that. And the wife, Stephanie, is fully enabling him to have this mentality surrounding work because she is reinforcing it too, saying that they're sucking the life out of him and like, why doesn't anyone care about that? Both of them should either be working, or at least one of them should be working and the other one should be encouraging that person to keep working so that they can provide for their kids, because right now they cannot. Again, the main reason why he doesn't want to work is because he doesn't want most of his wage going to child support, but that would not be happening if he just paid it on time to begin with. And he says he only owes $6,000 now before he fell behind. So if it's only, then why not just work really hard, pay that, and then going forward, any pay that he makes at a regular job is just his. He doesn't even have to worry about it. But no, that would be too easy.
That's how Jackson's was. Jackson's was okay, but it was
if we would work at Jackson's, we will be stuck here the rest of the kids' lives. We made the decisions we made to get out of here.
Yeah,
business.
I guess here's the other thing. They'll probably say, get a second job. I've had a second job, and this is why I am pre-diabetic and on heart medication. I've had a heart attack and went into AFib, and I'm on heart pressure medication. Not making an excuse, but I overworked myself and didn't eat and didn't sleep and didn't eat and didn't sleep to make sure bills were getting paid. It's not like I wasn't. I would like a job that's one job. If I were to have a W-2, one job that pays well. I don't want 2-3 jobs. That's not fair. I know that. Life ain't fair. Life is not.
Okay, so that is where that video cuts off. Obviously, as you could hear by the end there, they're just so entitled, and I have met people like this in my life who refuse to just work the jobs that are available to them because they think that they deserve better. They're so entitled. I would like one job that pays me enough. Well, wouldn't we all? I think everyone would like that, but that is not the reality for most people, and you've got to do what you got to do to make it work. I'm sure there are so many single parents out there. I've heard myself of many single mothers out there working 2 or 3 jobs to be able to provide for their kids. Do you think she wants to be doing that? No. Like, I think there's very few people who actually love their job so much that if given the opportunity to have everything paid and not have to work versus staying at their job, that they would choose to stay at their job. Given the opportunity to have everything paid for and never need to work, obviously I'd be lying to myself and to you if I said that that's not what I would pick. I would obviously pick not to have to work. Duh, like everyone would pick that. But these people feel entitled to that, which is what's different about them. And people like this, they think that they're too good for the regular jobs that they qualify for. If you're so qualified, why are you here doing no work? Like, I don't get it. I literally cannot get behind this mentality, and I think that I was definitely raised differently. I was always raised with the mentality that You don't have to like your job, but if you're working somewhere, it's your responsibility to be there and it's your responsibility to do your job. You gotta do what you gotta do to have the bills paid. Like, it doesn't matter if you like your job or not. Sure, you can quit and try to find a new job, but to be in this situation and actively not accepting or not be willing to work the jobs that he is qualified for because he feels entitled to more pay, he feels entitled to not have to work more than one job, is just insane. When she said he worked jobs that worked his body to the bone, I was expecting construction, roofing, or manual labor, not retail. Yep. Someone else commented, my husband lost his 30+ hour job and found a new job making 22 an hour because any job is better than no job. Exactly that. I get that he feels more qualified and entitled to make more. And I mean, I think most people want to make more than what they are. But the main issue, as this commenter just said, he doesn't have a job at all. So at this point, he's going to have to accept pumping gas at the gas station or working retail or at a grocery store. And if he wants to, he can try to find another job after that. He needs to be in a job to begin with, and then he can look for something else in the meantime while he works that job and has that pay coming in. He can look for a higher paying or better job as he sees it. So yeah, that's basically the entirety of the controversy that has been surrounding this TikTok channel so far. Now I will say their TikToks, because of all the controversy, are getting millions of views. So I would say it is kind of paying off for them, but I just don't know how sustainable that will be in the long run, because once people kind of stop talking about it, I don't know that their content is going to keep getting that many views. But the other thing is, people have been very generously purchasing all the stuff on their Amazon wish list. It wouldn't be me. I would never be buying stuff for someone who doesn't even want to work and thinks they're too good to work, but that's just me, I guess. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this down below and like everything we talked about, because it is a lot of drama to take in. And with all that being said, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.